episode 1 of the Fully Corked podcast.
It's been a 27, 28 year journey to get here. I'm happy this chapter's starting.
This will be a good chapter. And to all the listeners out there, my name is John. My co host is Charlie. And this is a podcast about wine, kind of.
Yeah, our limited knowledge of wine. John certainly, has a closer to academic upbringing there, seeing as he's out near Napa Valley. Whereas I've really everything I've learned has come from Trader Joe's. I'm a frequenter in the Trader Joe's liquor store. So, and actually for our bottle today, which we'll get to, the Brunello. It's I actually think it is the most expensive bottle I've ever bought at Trader Joe's of wine. Not that it was
20 to
expensive.
$1 in
Yeah,
San
yeah.
Francisco for those who are keeping
Yeah, it
tabs.
was it was 21 in Minnesota too.
Wow. Yeah. So if you guys didn't catch that, Charlie lives in the frozen tundra. It's currently February when we're recording this.
Mhm.
I'm out in San Francisco. Definitely part of the reason for starting this podcast is to start our wine journey.
Mhm.
I've been up to Napa a few times. I've had a few tastings trying to learn the vernacular and get everything down, but it's challenging out there. And I think we're going to test the limits here with this pod, and you guys can learn with us.
Yeah, and we invite you to do that. I guess not to get holed up here right away, but in a wine tasting, it may not be dissimilar to this because in my imagination on these tastings you've gone on, of which I never have, you're drinking 20 different wines. You're probably, or not, maybe not 20, but you're getting drunk, at which point it becomes difficult to evaluate anything, right? I mean, and so, that might happen here too. It might enhance, our analysis of whichever wine we're on, but
Yeah,
yeah.
are you sure you haven't been wine tasting? That's spoken like a true vet.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think the one time that we were gonna do it was when, we were gonna go to Rombauer and then the Vikings made the playoffs, so we went to that
Oh yeah.
instead.
Yeah. That
Um
was
Oh, shit, no, we did it in Barcelona at, the Cava place.
oh yeah, we did. So Charlie's first ever wine tour, and I actually suppose this was mine. We went into the caves of Spain and we tasted their version of champagne or sparkling wine, cava.
I I didn't learn much. It's
But
fun
did
though.
you get drunk?
Yeah, a little bit for sure. Snuck some sips on the side. I mean, yeah. Anyway, sorry, not
Yeah.
to get off topic there, but
All joking aside, you do get drunk at wine tastings, and it's kind of it's the winery's fault. They like force feed you like 5 different types of wines, and then by the time you finish your 5th, then they pull out something that they call their library wine, which I don't even really know what that means, but it's their nice shit, and they
mm,
peddle that to you, and then that's what they try to get you to buy for like $150 a bottle, and they want you nice and drunk to make
yeah.
an ill-advised decision such as that.
And I mean, if you were going on like a date there too, then you got a little pressure on you too. Like, is he gonna cheap out and buy the $60 bottle, or is he gonna treat us and get the one
Charlie,
fifty?
such a veteran.
Yeah, and the answer is you never cheap out, and you always regret not cheaping out. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's. I mean, you tell me, but
I've the fact that I have a wine collection is very sad, and it's because of all these super expensive wines that you buy at these tastings towards the end, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you just age that for 10 years. That's how you make it worth it."
it's an investment.
It's kinda one of those things where you try it and then you're like, "Oh man, that was good, but I wish I knew more about this."
Yeah, and again, I mean, that's what we're setting out to do. I suppose it's a part of our mission statement. Certainly, see how
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah, I mean, should we get started? Should we introduce the wine?
Yeah, yeah. Take it away
Yeah,
as our kind of
if I
veteran.
may. So I'm gonna hold this up to the camera for those looking on YouTube. This is a Brunello di Montalcino, which Italian wine is one of my all-time favorites, and this is something I have learned. the best Italian wine out there is Brunello di Montalcino. I believe it's a Nebbiolo grape. Um, that's about it. But I know, like, if you talk to anybody that knows Italian wine, they say this is the best of the best. And it just so happens that nationwide, Trader Joe's has one of these for $21. And so, we thought, what better way to start this podcast than with an absolute bang? We'll put all of our viewers on. Everybody listening to this that drinks wine, go buy this. It's a I don't even know how you describe this. A good drink, a
Yeah.
good sip.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's easy to enjoy. It's one of those, it has to open up a little bit. You gotta give it a little bit of time, let it
Mm.
breathe a little bit. I don't know how many of you are decanting your Trader Joe's wine, but it would go a long way.
And if you are, I'm very jealous of you if you are.
So, what we're gonna try here is Charlie's a novice at wine. I am the relative expert of the 2.
A novice.
We're both sommeliers undercover. Charlie's gonna pour this wine. I'll do the same, and we'll first get his reaction, then we'll get mine. We're gonna try to articulate our thoughts, and we will see.
Alright. I'm going for the pour. I'm gonna put the mic down. I'm sure this form is gonna upset some people, so we'll see what I can do. Also, I'm going for a big pour. It's been a long week.
Same. Oh yeah, that's a good pour. Hey Charlie, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, John.
Cheers. Give it a little twirl. Give it a little smell. Smells good.
Smells of ripe black cherries.
Oh, Charlie, you Wikipedia Brunello.
No, I was reading the back cover. Alright, I think I'm doing it. I'm taking a sip.
Go for it.
Wow. I gotta say, right out of the gate, feels good to be drinking alone again. Um, I mean, do you have a first impression?
Yeah, let me try to describe this. I would say, using my sommelier terms, it's fruit forward.
Mm,
It needs to open up a little bit. I don't quite know what that even means, but the way that this works is it's kind of like sharp, almost like sour to the taste when you first start, and then it oxidizes. It gets a little bit more air in there, and it opens up, and then starts tasting like more bold, fruity. Um, this is like a non-tannic wine. Charlie, do you know what tannins are?
I again see it on the description, but I couldn't, if you put a gun to my head, I think you'd be forced to pull the trigger. It says, "Refined tannins balance the structure."
Mm, balance and structure definitely go along with this.
I tend to agree with the statement, "It leaves us with a lingering finish." It's lingering. It's lingering. I'll tell you that.
We're gonna taste really good wines on this pod. We're gonna taste some bad wines on this pod. Um, and we might even taste some corked wines on this
Y
podcast.
if we're lucky. Uh, and the as far as the bad wines, I do think that's where I could offer maybe a little bit more, than in this scenario when we're talking about refined tannins and how it's supposed to be, consumed because, I mean, my upbringing with wine outside of enjoying a nice Pinot Grigio with my mother, out on the patio at our old house, it was like one of my first times drinking, but in college, it was very much, slap the bag type activity,
Some of the first wine I've ever drank is Franzia,
yeah.
which probably not unlike most of our listeners.
Yeah, yeah, and, you know, good bang for buck, that's all I'll say about it for now, but yeah, so it'll be a journey, it's a big learning curve, so we'll see.
Yeah. So speaking of big, beautiful flavor,
Mm,
how about we tell our listeners about how we met each other?
mm. It's a great segue. So I first met John, in college, freshman year, University of Wisconsin-Madison, go Badgers, and it was in the business school library in Granger Hall, and at that point, I had known of him, I had seen him around, but I felt of kind of the group that we were collecting as friends, that I hadn't cracked John. He seemed very stoic and withdrawn, and I remember we were all in this room together. It was probably like 17 of us, something like that, and I remember looking over at him and just being like, "This son of a bitch is gonna be tough to crack." And lo and behold, shortly thereafter, you know, that's he was not tough to crack, I mean, and it all the beautiful relationship that followed started there in kind of a dubious, beginning. I was suspicious of you for sure. I was like, "I don't know what this guy's about."
I was also suspicious of you. I mean, to be perfectly candid, you kind of were like a latecomer to whatever I was trying to cultivate as my college experience.
Mhm.
I remember like, it was kind of tough. My very first day of college, I had no idea what I was doing. Like a lot of people are like rushing frats or going out. I had no idea. I just went out with my floor mates and we bombed a vacant beer from like the terrace and we
Mm,
just sat around in a corner and drank it. And I
nice.
was like, is this college? Like this sucks.
Yeah. Oh.
It was real depressing. And so then I had to claw and bite my way into I guess what I would consider like a friend group, and then I was like, "Oh, this is way better."
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden Charlie comes along and he starts stealing all my friends.
Yep.
And he's taking them all from me and I was quite uncertain about him.
Eh
But then I found out we both played tennis and things changed real quick.
yeah, and all 4 years at Madison, we played club tennis together, went to Barcelona together for study abroad. Um, and yeah, it was great. I mean, lived together multiple times, right? 2 years, 3 years? 3. 3.
So, just so you all know, we were in a frat together
Mhm.
and I was nominated the position of pledge class president and
Something he never lets any of us live down. He's still very proud.
exactly. Yeah, pledge class president.
Yeah.
I was the first president.
Yep.
It came with its perks. It definitely had its hardships as well, but one of the perks was you got to pick the first room within the frat house
Mhm.
your sophomore year, and, Charlie and I were scheming to get what we thought was the best room. In hindsight, it was it was a terrible decision, but
No, and it also was not the consensus best room. I think it was a lot of people were surprised to see that come off the board first, and it wasn't not the best room because of the room. I think it was just gross mismanagement on our part, and our door didn't lock, so it was
yes,
kinda like, "Well, what the hell are we
we had an
supposed to
open
do?"
door policy,
Yeah,
not by choice.
yeah, which just led to rampant abuse of that by other housemates, so
4 in the morning and you got people of all walks of life, hanging out in there, being loud.
yeah. Absolutely no respect for, and you and I mean, we were grinding in the library, we wanted to get up early for our morning runs,
Yeah.
and that was a difficult thing to pursue at that time.
There's nothing more jarring than being asleep at about 3:30 in the morning with your roommate also asleep, Charlie,
Mhm.
and the light turning on, music blaring in your room, and people saying, "Get up, we're drinking."
Yep. That's
3:30 in the morning.
yeah, and I mean, in some ways, blessing and a curse, because at that time I was studying actuarial science, trying to pass the certification exams that went along with that. And I think in no small part due to a bad environment to be picking up those skills. At the same time, I kinda just gave up because I was like, "I suck at stats." Or maybe not so much I suck at it, but I don't wanna do stats every day for the rest of my life, not that fun. But ultimately led me to switch to finance and risk management, which couldn't be happier with. So, silver lining, trying to make a silver lining of having a door that didn't lock. I don't know.
Having a door that doesn't lock is an incredibly bad problem to have. So, that's a little bit about us. Has it opened up for you at all, by the way?
Let me take another sip. Oh, it's starting to open. I'm feeling the fruitiness, the boldness, it's all coming through. The body is actually kind of a little more tangible, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
Charlie. Tangible.
Yeah, tangible. It has some sort of a palette of, a certain nature, I think.
I'm getting some tangible body in mind too. That thing is opened
One
up.
thing before we leave, you said doubles partners, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more later, but I do want to shout out the UW-Madison club tennis program, and while we were on the team, I wouldn't say we were particularly good at making friends, with other people on the team. It was awesome to see
No.
them. Super nice group, and, like, just really, really friendly, like, great they've done a great job cultivating a community there, so gotta shout them out. Definitely.
It's kinda hard being the ones that, like, we knew we were the
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
We
for
made
sure.
no no effort to be part of that group, which it wasn't club tennis's fault by
No,
any means.
no,
We just
they had a great offering, but I think at that time, we were more interested in spending 40 hours a week at the bar and at tailgates, and, like, that's wasn't a perfect crossover, so, but I wouldn't take it back.
still kind of a fresh
Yeah,
wound.
yeah, I mean,
There's some unfinished business with this club tennis team.
yeah. I mean, unless we go back and get an undergrad in communications or whatever we wanna do, there we can never really close the door on that one. We didn't get to where we
I
wanted to
wouldn't
get
mind
to.
getting a second undergrad.
Yeah.
That's kinda that might be the new life hack, like, instead of going for your master's or your MBA, 4 more years. Let's go have some
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Not like we had enough the first time. Run it back, except this time we're 28. Uh
Yeah, we're super old, again, that's why we're drinking
Yep,
wine.
yep.
Life skills, Charlie.
So, alright, we got the intro, um
Now let's move on to our relationship
mm.
status. Charlie, what is yours?
So it's I was prepped on this question. It's still a very very tricky question for me to describe in a way that isn't just mostly mortally embarrassing, but I guess the most concise way to put it right now is I would say single slash swiping on Hinge until my eyes bleed sometimes
Mm.
at night. So it's I've told John this many times and he'll tell you he's been in a relationship for the last 6 years, I think. Never let her go. It's tough out here. Never let her go.
Trying my best,
Yeah,
Charlie.
yeah. Hey, I know it's tough.
Do you remember back in the day when, like, it was just a thing where you would just be, like, hammering your phone, swiping right? And
Dude,
I always found that that was incredibly, incredibly
ye
disappointing.
that for sure, and I also feel like right when we got to college and, like, Tinder started being a thing, I didn't use it in high school, but it was kinda like a competition with everybody you knew, like, "How many Tinder matches do you have?" Um,
Yeah. It wasn't about the
no,
quality, it was quantity.
I have 500 matches. I'm cool. Dude, and I actually remember, right after college too, I'd be or no, this would have been in college, my first internship. When I'd take my 30-minute drive home, I would just open up Tinder, and as I'm driving home without looking at my phone, just swipe right until I was out of swipes. Because it's like, at some point, if somebody matches you, you can go back, comb through it, and, like, see if you're interested or not, but, like,
Yeah,
I don't wanna spend the time to, like, go through all of it.
who would? Yeah, so I have luckily avoided Hinge and Tinder for the last 6 years. I'm a better man because of it, for sure. I am very lucky to date my girlfriend, she's great. But that leads to a lot less interesting stories.
You and your girlfriend are always doing dope shit, whether it be traveling or good events. I mean, I'm sure that also takes a tremendous amount of time, effort, planning, but, you know, I think we'll get some good stories out of you. I'm not worried about that.
We definitely will. I have been lucky to go travel in a lot of different places. Definitely because of the girlfriend. These are trips I probably wouldn't do with one of my
Mhm.
buddies. Maybe Charlie, but
I'm honored.
going through the rolling hills of Tuscany and having a wine
Hey,
tasting out
that's
there,
that's that's
or
coming up for us. Things are changing. Things are
that's
changing.
true. Yeah, or laying out on the beach, one of the beaches of Mallorca. Like, I love you, but I just I don't know if I love you like
The
that.
the thing about it, and I feel like I should be upfront before we start planning a Mallorca trip, is you're gonna need to put a lot of sunscreen on me, and frequently. And so just, let that let that idea get comfortable in your mind before, we make any radical moves. I'm trying to be better about skincare, but I don't own any moisturizer or have a routine. But I will wear sunscreen. I've learned my lesson there. But I'm gonna put the mic down. I'm gonna give myself a little top off. I think my glass is smaller than yours. I don't know what's going on. There's this tech issue. I need another glass. So
Yeah, let me just commentate. You know something I'm interested to hear from our viewers. Can we rate Charlie's pour? Let's let's use this as a chance in the comment section on YouTube, Instagram, maybe. I don't even know where we're gonna get this podcast out.
MySpace.
MySpace, Facebook. Uh, Give Charlie's a pour a rate from 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. If we get at least 3 votes,
That's a smashing
we'll
success.
we'll do a
That's
giveaway.
engagement.
We'll do a
Yeah.
giveaway. Yeah,
And if
that's
we get an
engagement.
average vote of an 8 or higher, there will be no addition to the giveaway, but just know I will feel better about the pour. So,
If Charlie can get a vote for 8 or higher and we can hit a minimum threshold of 3 votes, we will do the next Fully Corked in
oh,
beaters.
that could I'd do it.
Yeah,
That's a sacrifice I'd make for the viewership, the listeners.
I would do it too. That's a pretty low bar. 1 8 out of 10
Wait,
rating
it's
for
just I
Charlie's.
just need 1, not an average?
No, you just need
I
1.
mean, there's a slight conflict of interest in that I could just go vote a 10.
No, we're gonna know if it was
Yeah,
you.
we'll know, we'll know. Yeah, I mean, so let's see here.
Yeah, let's dive in. Okay, so Charlie, he's talking about he's on Hinge, he's on Tinder.
No, 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 no. Was on Tinder. Just Hinge now. I have faith in Hinge. Hinge sponsor us, sponsor me. Um, I have
Is Hinge seen as better than Tinder?
um, I would say, I mean, in my view, in my
Is Tinder still
circles,
around?
I would say yes. Just because like in Hinge, you have to make a profile. There's like room for creativity. You get a sense, more of a sense of like someone's personality there than like Tinder is like 6 photos and people are only swiping, I feel like, at or after 2 AM. Much more like hookup, and like
Mm,
at 28, I'm kind of looking to have a real relationship. At some point in my life, it would be nice. I think. Who knows? Maybe it'd break me too.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it just has like a higher level of legitimacy in my eyes.
Yeah, and it's seen like that around the
Yeah.
industry.
Around, well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you sound off in the comments. What do you guys think? But yeah, that's one man's take. But again, it's a take from somebody who's hasn't found the most success.
This is gonna bring me to my question.
I'm ready.
Charlie, you're on a first date. Where do you go? What do you wear?
All right. Um, so I would say the majority of my it kind of depends time of year, but if I'm thinking about right now, February 2nd, or what the hell date is it? February 9th. Uh
The
yeah.
ninth.
Oh boy. The
Good
Brunello's
guess.
kicking.
Good
I'm
guess.
time traveling over here. Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a proponent of a drink first date, like not that's not too much. It's not like a dinner. Um, Starting to kind of think about maybe there should be like some kind of activity involved in that too, because at some point, you do enough of these just drink dates, and they're all the same. They can be really good because like for me, I like the long form conversation. You maybe have one too many cocktails at the speakeasy and you actually learn something about somebody. So that's my preference in terms of what I wear. Um this time of year, it wouldn't be uncommon for me to wear something like this, kind of like a what is this? Waffle shirt. And then, I mean, I really only have Lululemon pants, so probably that. Even though they're so shitty in the Minnesota winter, they're so thin. They really like are just not great for that. But that's all I have.
Yeah, no, I get that. And What's your success rate with this fit?
I mean, it depends how you define success rate. If it's a second date, like continued interest, I don't know. I'd like to imagine that these people are coming into the date with a similar mindset to me, which is you're trying to get to know the person, you're trying to make a connection, you're trying to. It is a tricky balance of like sometimes I'm like, am I trying to make this person like me? Am I trying to figure out if I like them? So that's always kind of weird to parse, but um I think, it's usually successful, but I can't imagine it's due to my fits because, like, I'm not a super stylish.
It has to be though. Like, what if you showed up in like a tank top and Ed Hardy
Oh, it
jeans
would
or
not.
something?
There are some people who could do that. I'm not one of them. I I am not one of them. I mean,
What type of message
I
would you be
think,
sending?
I think that would send a message that I've lived a hard life, so it'd also be, like, disingenuous, like, I've had it pretty cushy most most of the time. Uh
Hence the cable knit.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's why I stick to the waffles, the cable knits, things like that.
So it's approachable, it's easy.
And it's not I don't think it's, like, overdressing either. It almost borders on, like, underdressing, I feel like sometimes. But again, like, I just
Why do you say that? Are your dates getting dressed up?
I mean, not like a dress, but, like, I don't know. I feel like it is casual. Like, if I was wearing this is maybe, like, not as, like, super casual, but I guess I also wouldn't wear, like, a button up and a sweater vest like I'm coming from, like, work or something like that. So, I don't know, it's a tricky balance. I mean, I what John, if you had to go what's the right way to word this? If you were gonna go on a first date, what do you think you'd go to? Because I think at least from what I can tell, the Snapchats I get from this man in San Francisco, I mean, you're dressed nicely, like, more nicely than me 9 out of 10 days, and probably more than that, so
That's actually amazing you say that. People in San Francisco have like notoriously bad style. Like we love
Mhm.
athleisure. We love dressing down for dinner. Like I would have to imagine like being a dude here trying to date a girl, like you're probably wearing like big baggy
Mm.
cargo pants. You've got like some sort of graphic tee that's like edgy, shows that you're edgy even though you work in
Yeah.
tech.
So what is that what you'd go with, or are you saying that's, like, the populace?
No, no, not even close.
Dude, I'd love to see you in a graphic tee and some baggy jeans. I haven't seen something like that in
I would look certifiably horrible in baggy jeans and a
I
graphic
just
tee.
don't think I mean, I think that, like, the baggy jean thing for both guys and girls, I feel like is super in right now. I mean, I personally I don't think it looks bad, but I similarly think I can't get away with that.
So, I know it's hard for our listeners, well, they don't even know what I look like, but if you're watching on YouTube, I got really skinny legs, and me in baggy jeans might be devastatingly bad. Like, if I showed up on a date in baggy jeans, I would get stood up 10 times out of 10. It's not even close. Like, that is a
I
criminally bad
I
look for
mean,
me.
I guess not to divert this is not to give you confidence that you wouldn't get stood up, but I just think the bar for a true walk into a date and they see you. You might not see them. They see you and then they stand you up. I feel like it's like it is an insane bar. So like back to what you were saying with like if I was wearing Ed Hardy stuff and like some True Religion jeans, maybe that does it. Maybe though. I just feel like people if I went on a date and somebody was wearing something that I thought was really off the wall, it would have to be, like, really, really out there to stop me from even sitting down, you know? Like, I don't even know what it could be. Like, I think I'd
Yeah.
sit down under any outfit. Unless I mean, throw it yeah, please give me
Oh.
play devil's advocate. I mean, I'm happy to tell you if what a deal breaker could be.
Oh, let's try to think of the most outrageous. Okay, this is a fun game. You realize she's your date. She got there early. She's sitting at the bar. She is decked out in all
Mhm.
black spandex and she is wearing cat ears and has a tail on.
You've painted me into a corner, John. The first fucking example, and I mean, God, I don't know though, it's just so unthinkable
You'd
to
give her a chance?
I mean, I'm generally Ubering somewhere, like, maybe I sit down like, it would be almost more of a pain to go leave, like, at least for the story, yeah,
You'll
like,
hear her
what
out?
the hell is going on? I mean, I wouldn't start with that either. I mean, I'd maybe say, like, my I always had family cats. I think cats are cool. Like, I don't know, but
Yeah, and then she hits you, first word out of her
no.
mouth, "Meow."
Yeah. No, I point taken. It could be I don't know. That would be very difficult to
I
maneuver.
almost feel like that would make you wanna
Yeah, well,
stay,
and
right?
for
Like,
for a different
that's
reason.
an objectively very interesting person.
Yeah, a different reason than why I'd wanna go on the date in the first place. This would then become, like, an educational thing for me. Like, try and, like, understand somebody from a different walk of life as opposed to, like because I just think if you're wearing a tail and cat ears to a first date, like, we're probably not gonna connect super well. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's narrow-minded.
What drink do you think she orders?
Milk? Would be my guess. Just off the top of my head. So one other thing, girl in cat ears and cattail is sitting down at the bar. She gets there early. Here's another date thing I feel like I've come
Mhm,
to come to realize. I don't know how true it will bear out to be. But I actually, as somebody on a first date, I'm not late, but I'm rarely like early to like get everything figured out.
mm,
Which I probably should be closer to early than on time. But I had an instance recently on a first date where the person um who was going to be joining me called me pretty much at the time of reservation and explained why they were going to be late. And like non insignificant, call it like whatever, 15, 20 minutes. And I think for a lot of people, that would be like you feel disrespected or, whatever it may be. That was like a blessing to me because I'm usually on the other side of that where I'm scrambling. I'm kind of back footed from the start, but I got to settle in. I got to look through the menu. I got to, know exactly what I'm going to order, think about, what am I going to ask this person. So it was great. It was great. Kind of an anti red flag for somebody to show up late.
yeah. Did you preempt any orders for her? Like, were you like, "Oh, yeah, like,
So
text me your order, I
that's a
got
great
you?"
question. I did do that, and I I ultimately did not order her a drink, before she got there or my own drink, and I understand this from her perspective too. I think she's just being safe. Like, the thing that's so funny about these dates too is I go into this with the intention to get to know somebody, try and like see if we have anything in common. And like really I feel like girls on these first dates, on these like
Mhm.
online dating first dates, it's like, is this guy a creep? Is he gonna try and kill me? Like and so out of the gate, have me order a drink that she can't see if I've tampered with. I mean, smart, like safe move by her. Not that I would do that.
Bro, she's not drinking that drink, you're out 20 bucks. It's
No, it didn't, I didn't end up doing that, but it was kinda nice. I mean, as somebody who's been on the back foot a number of times there, the other thing that sucks about being late to something like that is there's never a good reason. It's just like, I got in the shower late for the most part, or like, my Uber pushed back, like, it was just really nice to not be late, I guess, is all.
yeah, yeah, you kinda gained the power, you gained the control right away. And she had to come in apologizing, you got to be the good guy, like,
Which was kinda tough the way I handled that too, because I was trying to tell her that it did not bother me at all. I mean, as I've been saying to you, it was good. Um, but I kept saying over and over, "No, no, no, don't worry, no need to apologize. I'm just happy I'm not late." Which, like, she obviously it's impossible to take that well. It's like, "Okay, like, well, I am, you asshole." I know
"Oh,
well,
man, you kinda
I wasn't
pieced her."
trying to. I was trying to, like, soothe that worry, and I just yeah, fumbled it.
Bro, she was probably so worried about getting late shamed, and
Yeah.
here you come, "I'm just
Yeah.
glad it wasn't me."
Yeah, yeah, fuck that one too. Um, I mean, I don't know.
So Charlie visits me every once in a while out in San Francisco. Most recently was last year for SantaCon. And for those of you who don't know, SantaCon is a beautiful time of year where everybody dresses up as Santas or elves or I don't even know the other characters of Christmas. A tree, I highly doubt it.
If you see that though, that's trouble.
The Grinch. There's always that one cringe person that, like, loves doing face makeup.
And I don't think it's well received, honestly. Like, you put in so much effort to make this cool Grinch outfit, and everyone's like, "Screw you, dude! Like, we're all Santas today. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you look scary. Everybody else is dressed up in, like, scantily clad, sexy Santa costumes, like, you're just
You're killing the
creeping
vibe.
everybody out, bringing down the vibes. Anyways,
You're stealing the vibe. You stole Christmas."
Charlie. Well said. Um, so, yeah, we not wanting to be the Grinch, not having ready-made Santa outfits, we were like, "Where do we get SantaCon outfits?" Like, it is the night before SantaCon and all through SF. Not a creature was stirring. Nothing was open. So we had to drive, like, out into the middle of suburbia, and all of a sudden, there's, like, this
Beautiful blue beacon in the night.
massive, massive mecca called Ross, Dress for Less. Yeah, it's got this big blue neon sign. It is as beautiful as the eye can see. It's as beautiful as this deep
And the
burgundy
only thing
Brunello.
more beautiful than the sign is what's inside of that store, what they're willing to bring to the customers, which I will allow you
Yes.
to explain.
It's it's one of the it's gotta be the best concept on planet Earth. It is a discount retailer, but they have everything, and they have good shit. I mean, like, people may look down on some of these thrift stores. I don't even know if you call it a thrift store.
Mm,
Ross delivers. Charlie and I walk in there, and we
mhm.
come out looking like kings. Charlie, that sweater, which I believe was cable knit, unbelievable. Charlie had just this
Yeah, I mean, it
unbelievable
was it was
sweater.
a godsend because at that point, if I didn't get that sweater, I mean, what am I doing? I'm wearing like a red button up while everyone else is wearing full Santa stuff. Like that would have sucked.
I had a nice vest that I've worn for the last 6 Christmases, and Ross
Oh
came through
yeah.
with my underlayer, which was
Was it was it like made of like bamboo or something? You know those bamboo brands?
it was like a
Yeah.
cable knit bamboo black shirt,
Cactus Man. Yeah.
cactus ma yeah.
Yeah, I was just
No
about to
free
say,
ads, but
after we do no free
Cactus
ads, we're
Man.
talking about
Good.
the beautiful blue beacon that Ross is in the suburbs of San Francisco. But, if any Ross employees listening to this, connect us.
If you work at Ross, we need a collab. We will do whatever. Do you sell wine? Never mind.
Okay, while we're doing, you know, no ad reads, one thing I have been kind of doing some testing with, playing around with the idea, introducing it to focus groups, really without your consent, is the idea that you shared with me about a potential Bachelor spinoff. And let me just tell you, every single person I've talked to about this is enthused by it. So again, I don't even know who runs The Bachelor. Is it ABC?
Hmm.
Is it Bravo? Bravo?
I think it's Bravo TV.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems pretty credible. But I pitch the spinoff because like that's I don't know if we should even give it away for free, but it's a great idea.
Well, everybody who hears this idea will know it comes from us. Bachelor in prison. I think that has some serious, serious legs.
You have Bachelor in Paradise, which I've never watched. You have the actual Bachelor, which I also really haven't watched. But I imagine in Bachelor in Paradise, it's the same thing and they're in some sweet place. It's just great because with The Bachelor in prison, you also really have an unlimited supply of prisoners who could be bachelors. Like there's the handsome mugshot people. There's
Yes.
and it would add a good. the show's about entertainment, right? Like, you get a little insight into what prison life is like. It probably gets glorified and misconstrued. I think the selection of that bachelor would absolutely have to be very careful in terms of what they had been jailed for. But I think all in all, it's a show that I might watch.
I would watch Bachelor in Prison. I think the interesting thing, what's the structure?
Mhm.
So is the Bachelor in
Yeah.
prison?
It's like a series of, like, 20 conjugal visits, like, every couple days, and then
Yeah.
and the
So
dates
it's not the other way around where, like, it's
No,
somebody on the
no.
outside dating a bunch of
No,
prisoners.
I think it's also part of the thing is how they construct these dates within the conjugal visit in the prison. I just would love the creativity that could occur there. I don't know what really there is to do in prison.
A walk around the yard.
Yeah, that's every single date for the entire season.
I could see, like, a picnic table with all these inmates, like,
Y
standing
it
around.
it could be dangerous. It could be dangerous for the contestants. The other I think a peak date in Bachelor in Prison, which also kind of other working name Bachelor Behind Bars, is, because they do a lot of, like, educational courses in a lot of prisons. Like, if there was, like, a ceramics, like, pottery class, like, you go do some, like, pottery on the date, could be, like, an actually good date.
Yes. I What's the other, like,
Lift
stereotypical
weights.
prison shit people do? We could we
Yeah.
could have making license plate states. Wait, how about this
Yeah.
one? Trash pickup date. You drive out onto an interstate, and they got, like, 4 cameras in your face. The girl's all dressed up all cute,
Dude,
this dude's just, like, spearing trash.
well, in my imagination of that, she's also spearing trash. She's a participant in the date, but it also takes out of the question a lot of the discussion we
Mm,
were having earlier, which is, what do you wear? In this instance, they're both wearing that orange jumpsuit, and then they can
yeah.
focus on a real connection because they're not so worried about if I'm wearing a fucking sweatshirt.
So, Charlie, a big part of The Bachelor is hometowns.
Oh,
It's like the top 3 contestants or something. They go to and they meet the parents, and they actually get to go and visit their home.
here's my cell. That's what they do, the cell tour.
No, I think the bachelor in prison would actually get to go out into the real world and visit these
And
girls'
maybe that's
parents.
how the selection is made is like, you get an interesting enough prisoner and then also kinda soon release date because you can't nobody would is there like an obligation at the
Yeah.
end of The Bachelor? Do they get engaged?
You are supposed to get
Okay.
engaged with,
Yeah, so I
like,
think
your winning, match. Yeah. You set it up. I like what you're going. You set it up where their release date is the
Mhm.
day that he
But
he
also,
can
like, the way the
propose.
season timing lines up would be, um their release say a season takes 2 months to film, their release date would be at the end of those 2 months. Or, like, call it
Yeah.
a month and 3 weeks so that they can do
Yes.
that last iteration of Hometown. Yeah.
Oh, you do hometown as a free man.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes. Yes.
I just think there's legs there.
It's actually not a bad idea because you could kind of guarantee some surety around, like, income for this person too, like, with how
Mhm.
big influencing has got.
Good for prisoners, and that's one of the things that's important, to this podcast. We forget about no member of society. If you've been long jailed and you've paid your penance,
Yes.
this can be a way that you vault yourself back into the eye of the public, but this time for a more positive reason than, say, a felony or whatever it may be that jailed you. But I agree, dude. I think that you could are most bachelors what, they have, like, 3 million followers on Instagram, something like that?
I think it's less. It's all about the engagement, Charlie. Back to our 3
All you
our
need is 3
our
people voting
3
on a
listeners
poll.
that need to go vote on your wine.
And then you're wildly rich.